announcement has been paid for by the nWBro's podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Blade, Big Kev, and California. It's the nWBro's podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the nWBro's podcast here for episode number 14. 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. I'm one of your hosts here, California. It's a joy to be with you all once again. And once again, it's a joy to be with my nWBro's. And first and foremost, the one and only Blade. What's going on, my friend?
Far out. It's been a while now, what, maybe a month, if longer, since we've sat down to do this together. Yeah, I miss you boys, and I miss doing this. I think the break was good for us because we all had little bits and bobs going on, seemingly, which is super exciting. But yeah, it's nice to be back with you both, and I'm looking forward to having some laughs and talking about WCW tonight.
Excellent, Blade. You know, look, everyone out there who's not aware, I was away in Japan for a little bit. And then as I got back, Blade was busy with work as per usual. You know, the life is getting in the way of things, but you know what? It's okay, because when I was in Japan, I went to Korakuen Hall. Very nerdy, and I got this cup. This is where I got a beer in this cup from Korakuen Hall. Thank you. Massive nerd right here. But hey, speaking of massive nerds, let's talk about the opposite of a massive nerd. Let's talk about my boy right here, Big Kev. What's going on, man?
Man, I'm just as guilty as all the other nerds. I've got heaps of nerdy stuff I'm into. I'm a comic book collection, for Christ's sake. Yeah, I'm doing well. I find that you've just had a holiday, Carl, and I think a few weeks ago, Blade was saying he was on holidays as well. I need a holiday. I haven't had one in so long. Last night, my son was puking up everywhere, and I was cleaning it all up. So that's what I've been doing. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, looking forward to talking to you guys tonight.
It
shooting the shit.
Ends, does it? But you know, you think you're a nerd with your comic book collection, okay, Kev? Blade was the president, not just the in charge. He was the president of an anime club. So Blade, I mean, I think you trump him right here.
I mean, that's where I met my wife, and we've been together for 15 years. So, you know, yeah, that nerdiness served me well. I'll claim that.
Yeah, and speaking of nerdiness, we've got an nWBro's podcast here to crack on with, because we're concentrating on the NWO and professional wrestling, but we want to know more about the nWBro's and what they feel and the thoughts they have on professional wrestling and what it is that makes us tick. Tonight's nWBro's question, Blade, Big Kev, who is a WCW guy that you feel should have got more of a chance after the WWF bought WCW? I'm starting with Big Kev.
Man, take your pick. There were so many, it just nothing happened. But I think Buff Bagwell, after was it 3 weeks, was let go, and then never ever given another shot. I think he could have been a real player. I reckon he could have been a real entertaining addition to their roster, and I don't think he ever got a chance to do anything after that, really, which is a shame. I would say Buff, but as far as other stuff is concerned, the NWO was just don't get that was the biggest letdown ever.
It was over in like 4 or 5 months, but like you're right about Buff. He had one match and in Tacoma, Washington against Booker T. And everyone says it's such a bad match. The very next week, they're in Atlanta. Why not do the first WCW match there? But it doesn't matter. Okay, we want to know what Blade has to say here. Who do you think deserved more of a chance, Blade?
Yes, I was saying before, I think there was 2 guys. Kev hit the short-term one for me, which I think was Buff. They didn't give him enough of a chance, and he was out before he really even put his ass on the pine in the change room. And that sucks. But I think the longer term one, and to me it's super interesting, is I think they dropped the ball with DDP. Oh. You know, and it's funny now because with all the things he's done with DDP Yoga and how much of an influence he's had, like outside of the business, it's almost like he's getting his flowers now, which is really strange. But at the time, I mean, God, that introduction being like Sarah's stalker with Like, absolutely disappointing shit. And this is a guy that, like, by all senses, go in the ring, awesome character, great on the mic, and just a seemingly an all-round like good fucking human being to top it off. It's a shame. I think he should have been like ascending at that point, and he kind of plateaued the whole way through.
Yeah, that gimmick really didn't suit DDP. It's like the WWE or Vince McMahon didn't even like take 5 minutes to look at DDP's history in the WCW. So
It's funny. I just actually seen DDP talking about that, and he said one of his biggest regrets was not just leaving the money on the table, to so to speak, by saying, you know what, thanks but no thanks, and just not accepting that as his first gimmick, because he says his gut instinct it wasn't the right thing to do, and that's one of the things he said he could wish he could have said, nah, you know what, doesn't work for me.
the angle would have been fucked without him, because they only had like Booker T really and DDP, and then they had to bring the ECW guys in to fill it out. But my answer, and I'm going to try and make this as short as possible, okay? The lower mid card of WCW that were in developmental in 2001: Alan Funk, Elix Skipper, Kaz Hayashi, Shark Boy, Crowbar, David Flair, The Wall, Horace Hogan, Sick Boy, Kid Romeo, Reno, Mike Sanders, Lash LaRue, Evan Courageous, Jason Jett. Although Horace got a few heat or velocity matches, as did Crowbar, the only guys who got a chance was Mark Jindrak, Shannon Moore, Jimmy Yang, Jamie Noble, Sean O'Hare. But during the actual invasion angle, Johnny Stamboli was the only guy who was given a dark match. Out of all those guys, no one was given a dark match. And he got a dark match against who? Rob Van Dam. So, of course, he had a great match because Stamboli was a hell of an athlete. But the sad thing was, on my old podcast, the Insider's Edge podcast, came to find out that after these guys were in developmental at Heartland Wrestling Association, that after they helped the developmental talent, there get better, they were all one after another fired, which I don't think is fair. No one got a chance. But if it's an answer other than that, I think when you saw Scott Steiner debut at Survivor Series 2002 at Madison Square Garden, as big of an eruption that he got, beating up Matt Hardy and Chris Nowinski, you mean to tell me the first person he wrestles is Triple H? How about you have him feud with a heel Booker T coming out the gate, because they know each other, they've wrestled each other a million times. But no, we're going to have him against Triple H. Anyway, forget it, all right?
And didn't he lose like 3 times in a row to him?
I think the first time was like a DQ, and the second time he lost. And then the next pay-per-view was WrestleMania, and Scott Steiner wasn't on the card. Way to make back on your money, dickheads. Anyway, boys, WCW Monday Nitro, September 16th, 1996, the day after Fall Brawl 1996 at the Asheville Civic Center Complex. Sold out, 5,000 fans. Fun fact, boys. It's now known as it's now known as the Haraz Cherokee Center, previously known as the U.S. Cellular Center. It is a multi-purpose entertainment center and opened in 1974. The complex is home to an arena, auditorium, banquet hall, and meeting rooms. The arena played host to the politically motivated Vote for Change on October 6, 2004, featuring performances by Gob Roberts, Death Cab for Cutie, and Pearl Jam.
You say Gob Roberts?
That's what. Why did it say Gob Roberts? Who's Gob Roberts?
I have no idea, but like, what
I
a
don't
name.
know. Maybe that's a typo. But anyway, let's get to the ratings, boys. On this night, Nitro at 3.7. Raw, 2.1.
You.
It is a tied Nitro rating record when opposing Raw. The unopposed record is a 4.3. Let's keep that in mind when inevitably Dave Meltzer says
I'm waiting to hear the word plummeted, okay? I'm waiting for that word later on when you read this out, okay?
Oh, God. Okay, we start the show, boys. Tony has bad news to report. The NWO did win War Games. Larry says if we had trusted Sting, we would have won. We get the Fall Brawl highlights. We see Sting walked away. Liz made the save for Savage at the end of the whole thing. And of course, we get to a Tony Schiavoneism once again. Yeah, that's right, motherfucker. It's time for another Tony Schiavoneism, yeah. It was the most disgusting thing we've ever seen. Now, at the pay-per-view, it was the most disgusting thing he had ever seen. Now it's we. He's speaking for everyone. He apologized to Sting. And as this takes place, the NWO street team is handing out flyers. So I'm going to throw it to you, Blade, first and foremost. The opening of the show here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just really encapsulated what has been like quite an intense period in programming at the moment. I did like Larry Z says, if you're sensitive, go and get a job working with Mother Teresa. It made me chuckle. And I like the street team thing. Like, I love just seeing this sea of NWO shirts. Like, I don't think I've really ever seen anything since. Maybe like when they did the Occupy Raw thing with Daniel Bryan. May have been somewhat similar, but like just that flood of like shirts and visuals like is really cool. So yeah, I like what they're doing.
Excellent. Big Kev.
Yeah, watching this a second time because I ended up watching this Nitro twice. I just got a point to bring up when we see the sort of the package from the last pay-per-view. What was it? War Games? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight now, when you see the fake Sting coming out with the thing and then the real Sting coming out, they're exactly the same. Do you think in hindsight it would have been better if they were slightly different? Because how would he know what he's going to look like that night? You know what I mean? It's a small detail, but I kind of looked at it and went, okay, the real Sting could have been a little bit different looking.
Like,
I don't know.
the real Sting might have worn the pink fucking jacket, not the fucking exact yeah, okay.
I thought that was a little on
different types.
You know, I mean, that's a small nitpicky thing, but that's one thing I did pick up on. But yeah, you can see Larry's heated in this on commentary with how, you know, WCW is just not, you know, getting it together, and there's too much. You know, they're not trusting Sting. He's pumping that a lot, but they're not trusting him. That's, you know, it's their fault in a way. Except for Larry, he said he always trusted Sting. But yeah, so yeah, it's just a little point there I thought I'd bring up.
That is a good point. It may be like over analyzing, like,
yeah,
of course, like surely they both wouldn't have a clue what each other's gonna wear because they don't even know each other. But the fact that you picked up on that and I didn't, Blade didn't. I mean, Blade's very smart. He's, you know, this is a guy who's a private school guy, you know. But look, Blade, look, we know of you since the day dot on the nWBro's podcast. We know since day dot that you're big on fashion. And I'm not sure if you noticed this, but I wanted to go to Blade's fashion tips right now. When you are around, all things just keep getting better. I don't know if you noticed, but at the beginning when they showed the street team handing out flyers, did you notice that there was a dude with a tucked in NWO shirt with very shit hair wearing a fanny pack? Did you notice that, Blade?
I gotta be honest, no, I didn't. But I do have feelings about that.
Tell me how you feel, please.
Okay. I mean, you don't tuck in the NWO shirt. It's a shirt that hangs loose. It's not business. It's all pleasure. Although they would say it's all business. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. The fanny pack thing, that's for the boys. The boys wear fanny packs. Yeah. Like, you know?
He's not in the business. He's just in the street team.
Yeah, exactly. No fanny pack. That's not okay. And the hair is probably the biggest travesty of them all, you know? If you're out there repping the brand, you can't have shit hair.
Oh, he had a ponytail and you could tell that the front of his hair was like balding. It's just like, bro, give up on it. Like,
yeah, no, that's it. Go bald. You know?
Go bald, go for gold.
I do have another fashion advice I'm going to get from Blade later on the show, so we might have two.
Oh,
brilliant.
I can't wait. Yeah. Thank you, Big Kev. Can't wait. Let's crack on with the actual show here. Cruiserweight Championship on the line. Oh, I bet Blade was licking his chops over this one. Juventud Guerrera taking on Rey Mysterio in a match that goes 6 minutes 54 seconds with referee Mark Curtis in charge of proceedings. And Blade, you're going to have to lick your chops a little bit longer because it's up to Big Kev to let us know what he thought of the opening match here of Nitro on September 16th.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio seems to be the best person to stick in this role of getting the crowd real hot for the the Nitro or a pay-per-view. You stick him on first, and he just always delivers. Hoovy hasn't really had an easy debut since he started. His bat promo in the ring with Mean Gene was terrible. He's fallen over steps. So far, Hoovy hasn't had the easiest of debuts. But I think he really delivers here in this match. I think there was some really good spots in this match that really highlighted him, and I can see why he starts to, get some momentum and people start to like him a lot. They're real pumping home on commentary here about Macho being in action, and also talking about the paranoia and the NWO's demands about getting their own show. So really, sort of that's in between the match. This was one point I thought was just excellent. Was just before they're about to do the ad break, Ray dives at the top ropes, does a flip, lands on it, and they're like, okay, we're off to a commercial break. That is the most perfect, segue into the ad break, because it's such, you're like, holy crap, I'm going to watch the rest of this match after the break. It was brilliant the way it was just shot to an ad break after that.
Timed perfectly.
And I think this was really interesting as well, because they had a paid WCW announcement, but that was through the ad break. Usually it's during the show. This was an actual ad, which was just quite creative as well. So it was a great match from these two.
Excellent. And Blade, going into this, seeing that these two were going to be taking each other one-on-one, you must have been excited. Let me know what you think.
I mean, my initial thought was like, okay, so Hoovy's come in, right? Who's he had matches against, and who's he beaten? He beat Joe Gomez. He wrestled Konan. I can't remember.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I'm like, first and foremost, what the fuck has he actually done to warrant a cruiserweight title shot at this point? How does he deserve to be wrestling for the cruiserweight title this early on, having beaten, no offense to Joe Gomez, but no one. He
also had the title shot at the pay-per-view too.
Well, I mean, Joe Gomez isn't even a cruiserweight, so
yeah. And so I just said, what did he actually do to warrant this title shot?
Well, I mean, we could say the same for Super Calo, who had beaten.
Yeah, and I gave you my thoughts about. Gave you my thoughts about Super Calo. No, actually, Super Calo is a good wrestler. It's just his mask is shit.
We'll get to that. Okay, we will get to that. Okay, Hoovy. Okay, let's look at his history here. He beat Billy Kidman on the. Okay, he beat Billy Kidman.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
And Joe Gomez and yep.
Yeah, so this pissed me off because I'm just like, there is no way he deserves a title shot at this point. But yeah, he still got one. And like Kev said, he also had another title shot for the AAA title against Konan, the Mexican title.
You could, if this is AEW, you could be like, oh, he must have won a match in a different company or something. You can always do that what if shit, and you get away with it. But because it's WCW, you wouldn't be able to get away with it because it's WCW, not AEW.
Well, also on AEW, he probably would have won like 200 matches on Dark before getting a title shot. So, it's I'm going on about this, but that was just a point I wanted to raise. There was a lot of exposition on narrative throughout this, and Kev sort of talked about it. There was another apology from Tony to Sting.
Mm-hmm.
Larry says that WCW needs to get a win back, and they're still talking about they don't have that leader, they need one. The ending of the match I thought was great. That Frankensteiner powerbomb reversal, crisp, very crisp.
What a move!
I actually popped, which I was pleasantly surprised by. This was Hoovy's best match to date. You can't have a bad match seemingly against Rey Mysterio. It's physically fucking impossible. So yeah, not the train wreck I thought it was, but Hoovy didn't deserve this fucking title shot.
Well, look, Blade, I'll let you know from here on. It's a running theme, okay? I remember like earlier in '96, Greg Valentine got a world title shot over the Giant. Did not deserve it. But it happens all the time. Like people getting shots at belts that they did not fucking qualify for. I don't really have much to add except that Tony accidentally called Hoovy Eddie Guerrero. And I believe during the replay, Larry Zbyszko kept calling him Juventud Guerrero.
There was also a tailgate party outside with all the NWO fans celebrating their win as well. We had
That's
that
what was going on
during the match. One thing I was going to note as well, just the ending of the match. There was just that such hot excitement from the crowd. They were just generally hot and they're really like excited about this match and the ending. You just don't get that sort of excitement. You just don't see it anymore. Like it was like because I watched the last couple of weeks. I watched the skimming through Raw, and the crowd just completely kind of hijacking the show. Really, just chanting and they annoy me so much. Whereas this is just purely the fans doing what they should be doing, and that's
Exactly.
excitement for the performers in the ring, and it's good. It's good to watch.
It's what it's supposed to be all about. And you don't want to be distracted too much by the crowd when you're watching the fucking show. It's not about them. It's supposed to be what it's about in the ring. Again, yes, as you alluded to there, Kev, they did have that tailgate party in the middle with the propaganda celebration. Again, things are happening whilst matches are taking place. And also during the NWO announcement, I believe, or no, sorry, excuse me. No, they did not. I believe Tony had mentioned that the NWO had demands for a full program. So that'll be followed up on later on. But anyway, this show was brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT, an easy way to save. Fun fact, boys. Prior to 1993, collect calling was a virtual monopoly held by AT&T as people were accustomed to dialing 0 to place collect calls. MCI, whoever that is, moved aggressively to insert themselves into the market by launching 1-800-COLLECT that year. That must be the parent company. By dialing 1-800-COLLECT, customers could connect with an automated MCI system which would directly place a call to a designated receiving party for a fraction of the cost of the AT&T service for its operator-assisted collect calling. How boring is this? According to Advertising Age, 1-800-COLLECT went from concept to launch in less than 3 months. Damn! Launched with a large marketing budget within a year, New York Magazine reported that MCI had stamped 1-800-COLLECT onto our consciousness with a mammoth marketing blitz aimed largely at Generation X consumers. The service's heavy spend on television advertising made 1-800-COLLECT ads which featured celebrities including Phil Hartman, Wayne Knight, Mr. T, and Arsenio Hall, a ubiquitous feature of the 1990s TV landscape in the United States. In 2000, 1-800-COLLECT was being promoted with more than 160 million in annual advertising support by MCI. Steve Burns, best known as the first host of the children's show Blue's Clues, served as an announcer for the ads. That took way too long.
Rolling
I'm sorry.
Well, we're well and truly back.
You know, well, we want to know. We want to know about Pet Boys. Now we know about 1-800-COLLECT.
Do we want to know though? Did we actually want to know? That's the burning question.
I need to know, and everyone needs to know that I need to know, and I need to let everyone know.
Brilliant.
Interview with Tenay with Steve McMichael and Chris Benoit. Steve lays down the law to Lex. Debra
And
speaks.
Debra.
Of course, she speaks. We can't forget her.
Beautiful.
And I have some other notes, but I'm going to see if you guys picked up on any of this first. Blade, I'm going to you with this interview.
Well, I mean, I miss Mean Gene. Mike Tenay he's great, but he's no Mean Gene. I just didn't like this promo. Weird energy throughout. You know, Mongo is such a fucking turbo, like at all times. He doesn't have like 0 or 100, he just has 100. Um, and then you put him next to Benoit, who is possibly like one of the most like low energy, like monotone people. And then I feel like at some point in the promo, Benoit meant to say the word unforgiving or something else, and he says unforgetting, and I'm just like,
No, he said that path merciless instead of merciless, merciless, and
yeah,
he said unforgetful, and I was like,
that's so.
he's like he meshed two words at once, like unforgivable or unforgetful, unforgetful, and I'm like, do you not pre-tape this? Like, do it again. You fucked it. Just keep going, Blade. Sorry.
And then I just couldn't help myself but laugh when Mongo is just screaming at the end of the interview.
It's like a ferocious. It was like a ferocious cum shot.
Yeah. Ah!
Kev, did you pick anything up here?
My first line was pretty much exactly what Blade said. I said, I love Mike Tenay, but he's just no Gene.
No.
I was wondering as well, why was Mongo and Benoit they were absent from Fall Brawl? They weren't on the show, right?
I don't think they were even there.
They
No.
weren't even there at all. Which was strange. Yeah, they're just hammering home here as well. Basically blaming Luger for Sting's abandoning the ship and costing them the match, costing the Horsemen, which comes back later on in the show. But yeah, this was just liked Debra's accent, her beautiful accent.
Don't get me fucking
gorgeous.
started. Oh, absolutely fucking gorgeous. Speaking of gorgeous, we have a Glacier vignette after here.
Woo!
And I know I went to Blade first last time, but Blade made a point this week to say that he had a lot to say about this vignette. So again, I'm going to go to Blade first, and then after that, I'm going to Kev 2 times in a row. Blade, please,
Thank
your astute thoughts on the Glacier vignette that took place next.
All right, bear with me, boys. Glacier is a spirit inside of me that was given to me by my master. So we need to believe that Glacier is possessed by a supernatural being of some sort. Hold that thought. Some conversation around the elements being, earth, wind, fire, water,
Captain
in some
Planet.
sort of vague mysticism sort of way. Quasi-racist, but we continue. I said, this does just all feel very quasi-racist. He has an old sensei. He's choosing from different martial arts. That doesn't happen. Martial arts are usually strictly within the art that they're known for. You don't you don't pick and choose like a fucking pick and mix at the local deli. But whatever. They don't use letters, they use symbols. The Japanese have their own alphabet. In fact, they have several. There's hiragana, katakana, kanji. Maybe read a book.
Nerd.
The evil face on his back typically looks like the depiction of a yokai, which is an evil spirit in Japan. Again, go to your local library and fucking just get a book out on Japan. Not hard. A glacier is a massive moving ice, and that's what I am. Fucking facepalm. For the love of God, whoever wrote this needs to get fired. I swear to God. And if you're still working in the business, I don't want to know what else you've written. You're probably responsible for some of the biggest absolute steaming piles of shit this side of 21st century wrestling. Thank you, boys. I'm done.
I'm still holding to the thought that you told me to hold on to. I can't remember what it was now.
The initial one about the supernatural being. This is the hokey, carnival shit that sort of had left wrestling at this point. And it's just you're trying to present him as a martial artist that we're supposed to take seriously because, he's done all this training and he's possessed of all these elements of fire and wind and water. He's this is very much an American view on Japan. And it's so bad because it's very little research. This is what an American person thinks of Japan. And it's not good.
All it's making me think is, with your powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
Yeah, exactly. And then they got Glacier, a massive moving ice.
Yeah, doesn't it move hell slow? But here's the thing. I thought when he was reading all of this out, it sounded like a kid in class reading a passage from a book, and he isn't the strongest reader. That's just what I got from all of that. Kev, anything from the Glacier promo?
Yeah, I thought this was just so boring. Like this story, I found it hard to even follow it. Really, there's just no excitement in his voice.
No.
Where's Glacier from? Is he set from the south? He's got a very. I just feel like the Glacier character, what we've been seeing up to this point, should have never have talked at all. I just think when he talks with that accent, it kind of kills it for me. It just doesn't. I don't know.
He's from Brunswick, Georgia. So
Yeah. So yeah, okay, yeah. It just doesn't suit. His voice does not suit that character. I don't feel that he should have talked at all. Maybe he had a mouthpiece or something.
yeah, he needs a mouthpiece.
But the same with that line he said with he's the moving block of, was he say the moving block of ice or something coming to WCW? Phew, Jesus.
Well, the thing is, we've already got a moving block of ice because the next matchup features Ice Train taking on Diamond Dallas Page, and I have a feeling, boys, that maybe Dave Meltzer might have seen that Ice Train was the very next segment after Glacier, and he would have put two and two together, guys, and he would have been like, the fact that Ice Train was the next segment after Glacier, I think they were hinting at a tag team with Glacier and Ice Train, and a rumor is that they're going to be called the Antarcticals. Came up with that myself. Yeah, the Antarcticals. How terrible is that? DDP Ice Train, 4 minutes, 41 seconds. Referee Nick Patrick in charge of proceedings. Kev, what did you think of IT and DDP?
You know, the funny thing is, I thought exactly the same thing as you with them being a tag team. I was like, Glacier, no, Ice Train together. DDP is just really getting over. He seems to wrestle like on nearly every single show. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he requested to work as much as he has just to get the experience to catch up with his being as older than what everyone else is. So he's kind of like, playing a game of catch up to just get better. The other thing I put as well is that there was obviously there was being DDP, his wife being Kimberly Page. There's that rumor out there that Ice Train had sex with Kimberly Page, and I believe Carl, you asked to Ice Train's face on your podcast about this rumor.
Context: Harold Hogue was known from his time in World Championship Wrestling as Ice Train, and later in 2000 as M.I. Smooth. Tony Schiavone claimed on his What Happened When podcast with Conrad Big Tits Thompson that rumor had it that Diamond Dallas Page had allowed his wife Kimberly to get absolutely plowed and obliterated by two people on different occasions. Firstly, that 7-foot big nasty bastard, the Giant, and of course this big hoss of a man, Ice Train. I tell you what, if I let those two behemoths drill my wife, I wouldn't expect her to come back in one piece, because let's face it, who would? Fucking hell, mate.
The balls of me to ask Big
Would you
Boy
like to
Harold.
would you like to let the viewers know the answer to this?
He was like, she's a sister to me. And I was like, look, Tony Schiavone said this on his podcast. I just wanted to clear the rumor. I would be doing my job if I didn't ask. And I never usually go there with people like that. I kind of stray away from that stuff. But he was adamant that nothing like that ever happened and that they were all just friends. But there's all these rumors about like couple swapping with Bischoff and his wife with DDP and Kimberly, and who knows? There's always those rumors like Stephanie and Macho Man. Like no one's ever come out and said anything and confirmed anything. It's just this stupid rumor. Anyway, Kev, anything else?
Yeah, there was a lot more to this match as well. Like we had the I think the NWO supporters. They're all showing like hijacking the merch table by getting the tape and taping themselves around. And I thought that was really clever. That's really cool. The ending of this match is missed, right?
Don't get me started.
Very kabuki-ish ending to this match. It's funny, but Nick Patrick's facials when Ice Train wants to kill him, he's just selling his eyes. Is like, what? Like it's. I was laughing hard at just Nick Patrick from the ending again. He's great. Yeah, very confused. Who won this? I'm not sure.
Okay, before I throw it to Blade, I'm just gonna say what happened at the end of this match for everyone out there. Okay, so we go to the NWO street team hijacking the merchandise area, and they want to sell their shit. Okay, but as that's going on, we hear a bell ring, and Tony Schiavone's confused, saying that there was a pinfall victory. There was no pinfall victory, right? Ice Train had the full Nelson that he's now established as his submission move on DDP. DDP reached and he grabbed the towel that for some reason Teddy Long again is on the ring apron with that fucking towel. Throws the towel in, and of course Nick Patrick, being the screwy referee lately, sees the towel being thrown in, despite the fact that Ice Train is clearly putting in a submission hold on DDP and large and in charge. He still calls for a DQ. Now I get that this is all to try and like again make Nick Patrick get over as the fuck around referee. But I see this and I'm like, Teddy, the towel keeps on causing fucking problems. Leave the towel in your bag. Stop bringing it out. What the fuck is going on? From my memory, nothing goes forward with this story with Teddy, and I don't recall anything else happening. But I was annoyed that the finish of this match happened as they were shooting backstage. Blade, please, anything else to complain about here?
I just love the fact that you're as incensed with rage about the towel as I am with the Glacier Vignette. Look, I stand by my assertion from last time. I reckon, like, if he'd been given a chance, Ice Train would have been such a hoss. Like, he just, I don't know, he had those things working for him that I was like, just with the right booking and the right guidance, like, man, he could have been a fucking star, I think. Yeah, I laughed at the end when Ice Train then starts trying to strangle Nick Patrick, like after the call. He's trying to reach over and just like get his mitts around his throat.
And again, Teddy Long's fucking ruining it. It's just like, just let him get him, bro.
I also like with the street team stuff for the NWO, their sign that they've got there says "Who wants this crap?" I love that as I love that as a tagline for the merch. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about this one.
Excellent. Well, we move forward, and there's a little promo from Konan. Vato, Super Calo, you a dick sniffer, bro. Hey, Blade from the nWBro's podcast said you're a dickweed, Vato. Huh? And then, oh yeah, here we go. 1 + 2 + 3 = 6. The former 1, 2, 3 kid is in the crowd. Here we go. Larry Zbyszko is not stupid, though. It's clear to him what's going on here. But he's in the crowd. He's been shown. Kev, again, what did you think when you saw Sean Waltman there in the crowd?
I'll go back just to the Konan promo. I just don't like his presentation at the moment with his.
Hey, Kev, you want to go with the Konan, huh?
It's too cartoony, too stereotyped. But
he showed it 2 months ago, and he wasn't like that at all.
No, he's changed his appearance, so he's kind of becoming the Konan that we know and love later on. Maybe not you, Carl, but yeah. So it's just I don't know. He's in a weird spot, Konan, at the moment. But here we go. Yeah, Waltman in the crowd. Dave Meltzer, you're like 4 months late on this one, but he's finally here. He'll probably still say, "I told you, I got this one right." I really popped when I seen Waltman with the Doors Jim Morrison shirt. That was
great
pretty
shirt.
cool. Yeah, very, very cool moment.
You know, here's the thing about Konan. He's from Cuba.
Cuba.
And he's acting like he's this like Mexicano, hey, vato. No, you're from Cuba, bro. Blade, what did you think here when you do? Okay, again, Blade, you haven't seen any of this before. You know he ends up joining. So when you saw him, did you have this reaction like, oh, okay?
No, because I knew he did come in. And I think the thing about this for me is wasn't as bad as it was with Ted DiBiase, but like it's a pretty underwhelming way to like bring someone into the fold. Is they did what, like a 45-second like crowd shot with a bit of conversation, and then it was and like, yes, I know later in the show there's a resurgence and stuff, but at the point of like what I'd seen up until now, it's like, man, that was kind of a bit meh. Also, I didn't watch during this time, so when I saw him, I was like, man, why are they panning to like this random guitar tech that got like lost from a fucking Bon Jovi concert or something? But yeah, like, you know, it was okay. I enjoyed what happened further down the show, but my initial impressions at this were just like, eh.
See, I'm looking at it from a fan who's watching week to week at the time, and I'm thinking, Ted, Giant, the fake Sting, there's and like, oh, 1, 2, 3, oh, wicked, like another guy. Oh, wow, I can't wait to see who joins next week. Like, it might have been a little underwhelming in a way, but again, if they had like a big thing, like when the Giant joined the NWO and there's this big beatdown, like this little kind of dude, I don't know how else you're gonna do it, but
no,
anyway,
it's a fair point. I think, like, I guess I don't know what I'm expecting. They can't do every introduction as like some overblown.
At least it's something different again. Like, although it's similar to Ted, but at least he did the thing with the fucking flyers later. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
maybe you can tell me this, Carl. I just maybe this setup of Sean Waltman reflects how much maybe Bischoff valued him. I don't know. I was not watching at the time, and I haven't watched it back. But what was Sean Waltman as 1-2-3 Kid doing before he came here? How popular was he at that point on the other show? Because I don't remember him at all. I don't remember watching that period of time.
I think. Hang on. Okay, sorry, everyone. I got to quickly do a googling here. I think he wasn't he in the $1 Million Corporation?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Wasn't he? Didn't he turn heel? Yeah, he was in the $1 Million Corporation.
But he was never looked at as a main eventer, right? He remained kind of...
No, I think all he had done is he had feuded with Marty Jannetty, and he had won the tag titles with Marty and with Bob Holly as well. And he was with the $1 Million Corporation till May 1996. So that's all I can see, and that's why he wasn't involved in the curtain call. His final match that aired was on May 20th on Monday Night Raw against Savio Vega. So this is even before Hall showed up on Nitro.
It may have been a thing where, Bischoff didn't value him highly to give him a prominent spot, and I think what may have been as well is Sean Waltman's affiliations was probably bigger, made him bigger than what he was doing on the show.
I don't think he had done anything big since he'd like feuded with Razor. But anyway, and also I just read that he was in drug rehab between his final WWF match and going to WCW. So gosh. Anyway, let's get on with Super Calo and Konan. A match that goes 6 minutes 44 seconds. First thing, Blade, how dare you? Thank you. After the last episode, you besmirched the good name of Super Calo. I want to know right here, right now, what did you think of his match though here with Konan?
It was really good. I mean, the thing was, I also said, I'm pretty sure last episode, that I thought his match was good. I never had any problem with his ability to go.
No, I know. I'm just making nothing.
The issue I have is just the presentation. But yeah, this was a very strange match. I mean, I will agree. I hate Konan with the Dungeon of Doom. What a terrible fit. Like that is. We never
even saw him join, or I've googled it. I can't find the moment Konan joined. He was just a part of it.
Right. I was wondering that because I was like, yeah, he just pops up with them like a couple of weeks ago when we watched the footage, and he's just there. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, there was just some weird stuff in this match. Like there was some cool spots, but also some really like brutal looking bumps. There was a Frankensteiner where like Konan just lands on the top of Super Calo, and I'm like, Jesus Christ,
This fat shit just fucking landing on top of this guy. Oh my god, like keep going, bro, but like poor Calo.
I know. And then Calo bumps off the like this drop kick turnbuckle spot that he misses and like lands on the back of his head. Konan wins with a power drop, and I was like, it was just real messy. And I think this is what you were saying last episode, if I'm not mistaken, when I was sort of defending the Konan Super Calo match, where I was like,
the Hoovy
no,
match.
sorry, yeah, so the Hoovy match. And I was like, I actually thought it was okay, but like, yeah, it's interesting to see now putting those two matches next to each other, and it's like, man, Konan is actually kind of sloppy, like in the ring, which is pretty grim.
Don't get me
to be honest.
started, man. It's just we get used to it, okay? Because the beginning, I thought these two were doing really good with the arm drags and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as time wears on and Konan gets a bit more blown up, that's when the shit starts going bad. And this was only 6 minutes 44 seconds. Calo landed on his head or on the back of his neck. The Fisherman Buster. So many times in this match, it felt like he nearly broke his fucking neck. And I think Konan was a big problem with half of it. Just get prepared, Blade, okay? We're in this for the long haul. Kev, what did you think?
Well, Blade, we have confirmation here. We've now seen Konan and Super Calo in the same vicinity, so we know it's not the same person.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I think a couple podcasts ago, I think it's when Super Calo first showed up, I said, Blade, what do you think of everybody's mask? And you said, oh yeah, it's all right. And then the second week you see him again. That's when the outrage started. In the very beginning, you didn't pick up on it because I asked you. I thought you'd have a massive problem with it, and I asked you, and you said, "No, it's all right." And then yes, the second week, more had enough.
Is that your impression of me? It's all right. I sound like the biggest whiner.
I thought this match was better than their match they had at the pay-per-view. This is a rematch, right?
No, Hoovy was against Konan on the pay-per-view.
I'm sure these two
Calo was against Ray.
Was it?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I thought the Konan had sick entrance music before. Now he's this boring Dungeon of Doom music coming down the aisle. It's just, and then we got Jimmy Hart paired with Konan. That just doesn't work either. That's
oil and water.
Yeah. The match was fine, but yeah, I'm just Konan. I'm just not enjoying this presentation of him. I don't know why they stuck him in this group. It just doesn't make any sense. But luckily for him, it doesn't last very long by memory.
You know what, Kev? No, the match wasn't fine. Okay, first half was good. It's not
long. It's not long.
The match was.
It
fine.
felt like it went 16 minutes and 44 seconds.
Because you're a Konan hater. That's why.
Oh, I
have a lot of love for Konan.
No, I love Konan, but I fucking hate watching him wrestle.
Maybe I've got rose-tinted glasses with Konan.
Stop putting him with
can't
the
do anything wrong.
Cruiserweights. Just stop putting him with the Cruiserweights. All right, he's fucking twice their size. I get it. He's a Mexican wrestling legend. Stop putting him with him.
Kev's got rose-tinted glasses and they're attached to a shitty mask.
I've got brown tinted glasses. Okay. Mike Tenay. The ever so confrontational Mike Tenay. Which really pops me, the little sour puss look in his face when he goes to interview Sean Waltman there in the crowd. Kev, what did you think here of Mike Tenay confronting Syxx here?
I just like how he just claims, I'm just checking the show out. I just love how sarcastic he is when he knows what's coming.
So obvious,
yeah, so there's not much here, but yeah, just Mike Tenay trying to get the scoop here and not getting really much.
Fucking look in his face. Blade, what did you think here?
Yeah, I mean, I like that it built on the initial part, and I love the fact that, like, man, Sean Waltman has to do very little to make people dislike him. He's just a natural heat magnet, and like already people like there was a pretty loud reaction to him asking who won War Games. Yeah, I thought it was great. I like this little touch.
Yep, and if you want to hate him anymore, he had sex with Jenna Jameson in her prime. So let's move forward here. Hugh Morrus takes on Brad Armstrong in a match that goes 3 minutes 55 seconds with referee Mark Curtis in charge of proceedings. Blade, what have you got to say here?
I actually really like this match. I mean, I think Hugh Morrus is another one of those like wrestling anomalies. Like just the way that he was like maybe in that like prototype of like a Kevin Owens or someone like that, where he's like he's a big dude that can go. And that's sort of even crazier at this point. Like that's just not something that you see, like a 300-pound dude that's got that level of agility and ability in the air. I also didn't see like Brad Armstrong winning either. Like I thought he worked really well from underneath, and so I was like, man, that was actually a really cool surprise to see him get that roll up and take the win. Yeah, I didn't hate this match at all. I quite enjoyed it.
You know, as a bigger boy, Hugh Morrus, I bet you anything his big gut is fucking solid, like Scott Norton.
Yeah,
like I bet if you hit it, it doesn't jiggle. I bet it's like solid.
It's a cast iron keg.
Yeah, as he mentioned, like him being a big, like, you know, he's a unit. I guarantee you, he's solid no matter what. Kev, what did you think here?
Yeah, this was a cold match. There was nothing built or anything around this match, but the crowd was still really into it, and they really got excited when Armstrong got his sneaky pin victory as well, which I was real surprised by. But I think it's just back then. It's like it's 3 minutes. It's not a big deal. It's just quick bang bang. We get to see their faces. We get to see who they are, and it's very easy to digest. Where if you get a cold match now where it's got like it goes 15 minutes, it really drags.
Yeah.
Just quick little match. I was actually half expecting the some sort of NWO stuff during this match, but we didn't get it here. But yeah, it was just a quick little match, and yeah, I'm fine with that.
I agree. I was expecting some NWO stuff here too. We hadn't seen Hugh in a while here, but so I thought he was going over here. I want to say this about Brad Armstrong's theme song. That guitar solo that begins it, fucking brilliant. But total throwaway match here, but it didn't matter because like the crowd got into it. One part of the match that I really loved, Brad hit a hip toss on Hugh Morrus and then taunted to the crowd and celebrated, and he turned around and got clocked with a fucking real harsh clothesline. I laughed real hard. Speaking of laughing though, no laughing matter. No laughing matter. Get it out.
Come on, Lex Luger.
No laughing matter. Low laughing matter. Like no laughing matter. It's over. But then Hugh does his taunts. And then he goes and does his pin. Boom! Brad Armstrong with the surprise pin here on Hugh Morrus. I was surprised. But I thought if you're bringing Hugh back and he hits his big finish, which you want everyone to see that big moonsault. I thought, what does it do for him here? Where are you going to go with this? Hopefully next week Hugh beats Brad again. Beats him back, sorry. But hopefully they do something with it. If they don't, I'll be upset. Anyway, hour 2 begins. And you know what? I won't be upset. Hour 2 begins. Eric, Mike, and Bobby, and they're talking. They hype Macho having a chat. Who has a chat here with Tenay? Unfortunately, not Mean Gene. He just doesn't hit like Gene does he? Anyway, look, I don't have many notes here. I just want to say I don't understand how Savage still gets a title shot, even though he lost to the Giant. I don't expect the Giant to get the title shot. But anyway, the only thing that I really laughed at here was Savage saying, it's going to get really, really, really scary. And then he headed to the ring. Anything to say here, Kev?
Just what can you say about Macho's promos? They're all like 10 out of 10 every single time. So it's like, they're all good. The only thing here, I'm going to go to Blade for his fashion advice.
When you are around,
here. Macho Man's clothes, his whole career, his get-up has always been pristine. Always looks awesome. I feel at this point he's just got that WCW shirt with the thing. This is probably the worst I've seen Macho look as a get-up. I don't know. It doesn't hit home for me. What do you think, Blade?
We'll have to find out from the aficionado. Blade, please.
Here we go.
Yeah, and I think I talked about this last episode, or maybe the episode before, was like how I would feel that like in the era of, you know, the mid 90s, like Macho Man's like gear and aesthetic, you'd probably be like, man, that's a bit cringy and like very 80s, but like it works for him. Like, so for him to sort of lean away from that, it's like, no, actually, like that's one of the things that like makes you fundamentally who you are. Like, keep doing that thing. I don't know why he sort of started to half-ass it a little bit, but yeah, stick with it would have been my like, keep bringing those really loud outfits.
I love it, Blade. I love it.
Another point I was going to bring across right now is I said, name another wrestler as good as Macho Man at playing a heel and a babyface, either. He just does both so well.
The Rock. That's the only person I could probably. Oh, Shawn Michaels pretty good too at that, but I'm not sure about Shawn as a babyface really. But Savage he's
yeah.
I'd say Savage is better than Rock at being both.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best at that. Like he's so like loved as his baby face, and he can really
when he's
during those times with Elizabeth, gonna putting her in front of people, and, like such a prick, But yeah, he's the best.
Well, let's move into the match here, boys. Randy Savage taking on Big Scott Flash Norton, excuse me. 6 minutes 35 seconds. Referee Randy Anderson in charge. Blade, what did you think of the match here?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, the fans went wild for the ending, which I totally agree with. I think losing via DQ was a really good decision for Macho Man, because it kind of just leaned into that whole, like, these loose cannon. He's only got the one marble, as he's talked about a couple of times now. Like, he's cutting loose. So I like that it played into that. The match overall, I thought it was really slow, and the issue being is that Macho Man is working as the underdog, so he's generally moving slower because of that, and Norton is not the most agile dude in the world. So it just, I don't know, the pacing was a bit slow for my liking. I did want to touch on this before about the Macho Man NWO celebration part of it before it got into the match. Just that also, like, based on the end of War Games, I almost feel like, and I know this is not part of Macho Man's character, he doesn't do subdued, but I feel like if there was a time for him to do that, it would have been on this episode of Nitro. And I was like, he could have played it differently, but again, not generally part of his character. He kind of stays at that one beat.
Would you have preferred to see him feel a little defeated or something like that?
Well, you've got this thing of like these constant images of him walking out, being carried by other people, and especially off the back, like, Liz coming out to protect him. Like, I felt like it was so dramatic, and like there could have been a real capitalization of like carrying that emotion forward. And then he kind of comes out and does the Macho Man stick where he's and he's like, doing all this stuff. And it's just like, but like, you got severely beaten down at the last pay-per-view.
Like less than 24 hours ago, you had the shit kicked out of you again.
Yeah. And so it's just that, I guess, that narrative consistency for me that's a bit like, I don't know, I would have played it differently, but it is what it is.
This is why we're analyzing and over-analyzing the whole thing. We need to, and it's good to hear a different point of view like that. Kev, what did you think of Savage and Norton?
Did we miss a little segment with the NWO? They're outside the ring.
I believe this happened in the middle of the match.
Oh, did it? Okay, I've got it before for some reason. Yeah, I like how Macho just attacked Norton before he even get to the ring. I think it remains true to his character. He just went for it, and
what? That segment might have actually happened just before the match, but
okay.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Oh, we'll go over what the Macho Man match anyway. Yeah, I had a differing opinion this match. I kind of liked how aggressive it was, and they just kind of brawled outside the ring, and Macho just ends the match, just smashing the chair over on Norton's head. I thought that was kind of cool. It's, Norton picks up the win. It doesn't matter in the end that Macho loses. The crowd went absolutely ballistic when Macho attacked Nick Patrick. They erupted. That was great. I kind of like this loose cannon sort of Macho where, even though he does all this horrible shit's happening to him, he still picks himself up and comes back the next day, and it doesn't affect him. He just doesn't care. Like he's ready to get revenge, and yeah, I don't mind it at all. But yeah, I think Macho's staying true to his character. Where he's a bit unhinged at the moment, and he just does whatever. He doesn't care about a win or a loss. He's just
He doesn't give a shit.
getting revenge at the moment, right?
Yeah. I do like the fact that during this match they finally filled the plot hole that Meltzer was going on about, talking about the fact that Sting was in Japan during that week when people thought that he had turned on WCW. Yeah, the only other thing that I wanted to mention was I just love seeing the ring announcer get thrown off his chair onto the
Dave Penza, wasn't it?
And also after Nick Patrick got nailed by Savage, I would have loved if Mean Gene showed up to ask Nick Patrick some more questions after that. Just would have been the perfect time. But yes, the NWO, they were hanging out, they were drinking out in the parking lot. I'm usually bringing up Tony Schiavone-isms, but this is an Eric Bischoff-ism. They're drinking in the parking lot, talking and bragging, and Eric yells out, "This is disgusting." What? Having a few beers. Like,
Yeah.
how's it disgusting? You like beers, Eric. They also mentioned nWO Nitro. Do you have anything else to add there, Kev?
Yeah, I just thought Giant did a horrible job of getting into the segment. He was behind everyone, and every single time he was and he moved, Nash was just blocking him, and he was just not there. Right? So he didn't do himself any favors by being in the shot. He was too far away. He wasn't even there. But yeah, that's about it. But yeah, it's hard not to, I think, like the NWO. They're drinking beers outside. They're cool heels. Like
They are cool.
and there's nothing, like it's very hard to like not find them cool at this point, but a lot of the audience are, college students, and they're all about drinking and stuff. And this would really resonate with them,
Right. You're right on the money there. Blade, anything to add there?
I think it was also just cool for me. I was curious if fake Sting was going to be there, because I was like, is this played out now that they've done the thing and the bait and switch has occurred and all that sort of stuff? So the fact that he was there, I was like, oh, okay, like they are carrying this on. Obviously, I don't know how far that continues, but yeah, it was interesting to see him there.
We'll find out in the future, Blade. Coming up next, Blade, I'm sure you were pumped for this one here. Glacier, Big Bubba, 2 minutes, 42 seconds. I'm loving the snow coming down, the blue light.
Are you really?
Nobody can shoot up any heroin. It's going to be fantastic here. Blade, what did you think of Glacier and Big Bubba?
It was pretty shit.
Oh, come on. I thought it was all right for what they did. What was wrong with it?
Glacier's style doesn't suit a wrestling ring. The fact that he's constantly stopping and starting to perform martial arts moves, and it ruins the flow of wrestling. It's an interesting proposition that doesn't work well. Like it sounds cool on paper. I don't think it works well in execution. The fans seem interested at some points during the match, but I thought for a hot crowd, it wasn't the biggest reception of the night. It was 2 minutes and 42 seconds, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Probably a reason for that.
I thought Bubba's selling of the situation and getting overwhelmed by whatever Glacier was doing, I thought he did a very good job making him look good. Mm-hmm. But I think the blue light fucking hurts it. And if it was just in clear light, then it might have been taken a bit better. Kev, what did you think?
Blade, what did you think about Big Bubba's promo when he said wax on, wax off? Did you like that?
Yeah, I mean that probably really encapsulates my feelings about the earlier shit, really.
Yeah. So here's Glacier wrestling in blue lighting. So, we'll give Meltzer his due here. He did mention this in the Observer a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but he said that he needed the blue lighting because natural lighting fucks with him or something.
Maybe that's true. Maybe it's true.
Nah, come on.
I think it's just really awesome how we're seeing Big Bubba presented here, and he's kind of not really that important in the show. And then we know what happens to him later when he goes back to WWF at the time, and he becomes the Black, and how important he is on the show. So, just goes to show just how you're used or booked. How good he can be, but right now Bubba's kind of not doing much, and obviously could be doing a lot more.
Once the John Tenta feud was over, out of the blue, Big Bubba's just starts talking about how Glacier was pissing him off, and it's like you don't even know the guy. You just seen some vignettes for the last 18 months.
I mean, it just shows. Is it Ray Traylor? Is his real name?
Yeah.
He just makes the best of whatever they give him.
He does.
I think his whole career, you could say that's what he did. He was utility player, could do this, he could do whatever you need him to do, and I guess he's going to have the job here for Glacier.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move forward. Eric Bischoff starts talking, and he's talking about whatever the fuck's going on. Sting walks out. It's not on Eric's format. No theme music. He's walking out to the ring. I got to say this first and foremost, guys, and you know what? I'm going to throw the blade here quickly. Sting's coming out for this serious thing. He's not got no theme music, but he's still wearing the face paint and the tights, even though he's not planning on wrestling. Do you think he should have been in civilian clothes? No face paint, but sunglasses to cover his eyes. What do you think about that, first and foremost, before we get on to the segment?
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. And I mean, even I don't know this because I feel like, and this is what I had noted, is like with the power of hindsight, this feels like it's setting up for a character revamp. And you can see some of the things that he says in the promo hint at that sort of like vigilante stuff that is to come. Does he leave after this? Like, I'm not asking you to fully explain, but I'm like, if he does leave, I feel like it's warranted because then this is kind of the last time that you're going to see this version of Sting, right? And then it's the script is going to shift. It leaves you with that like final image, I guess.
Well, Kevin and I aren't going to tell you shit. You have to wait and find out, Blade.
Sure. So then on the flip side, if he does pop up next week, then yeah, I think possibly he should have gone with like a more subdued presentation would be my counterpoint.
Fair enough. Well, on to the promo that he cuts here. He has his back to the camera the whole time. He knows where the hard cam is, but it's symbolic, I believe. He talks about, waiting out the whole situation and waiting to see how things are going to play out. He brings up Lex being weird for months prior to, all of this stuff with the NWO. One of the big quotes here, I've given my blood and my sweat and my tears for WCW. And to all those that doubted him, you can stick it. From now on, he is a free agent. He will pop in when you least expect it. And I've got one other note to mention after you guys have a turn. I'm going to throw it to Kev here to see what you thought of Sting's promo.
I like how the commentary sort of covered why Sting was not looking at the hard camera. That they sort of explained that to the audience. To your point, where you said white, maybe he could have wore civilian clothes.
Yeah.
I think maybe the reasoning behind that was because he's supposed to be in the main event, right? So if he's kind of like not dressed for the main event here, I think they wanted to leave it up to is he going to wrestle or is he not?
Okay.
That's just my thought on this. So yeah, he says he's a free agent, and I guess we know this is the catalyst of him changing to the crow sting. But yeah, it's a good way of doing it, you know.
You mentioned Cruiser. Don't spoil it for Blade, Kev.
Well, gee, he doesn't
Clearly
know about crow sting. Come on.
Clearly, he's aware that it's going to happen. Blade, what did you think of the promo here, bro?
I mean, I kind of gave my thoughts prior when you asked the first question, but I just like
a little bit more.
Yeah, I think in sort of talking about it overall, I try to put myself in the mindset of like what it would have been to be a fan back then, and think of like what a monumental shift for a person to like undergo, right? Like when you talk about character revamps and people changing, like him going from that presentation of Sting to like the Crow vigilante Sting is like that's wild, right? That's like two things that are completely opposite. And he does both like so well.
Oh, this is the coolest fucking thing, dude.
And
he literally becomes Batman. He's got the fucking symbol and the fucking come on, man.
Yeah, it's like I thought it was great. I thought it like he did a really good job at expressing like how he felt betrayed, and he'd done so much. He'd given so much of himself to his friends and the audience and the company, and everybody had like sort of just been so quick to not believe him. And so, you know, looking at it with the power of hindsight, it's like it's such an awesome way to facilitate that change for him. And I thought just the way his deliverance of the promo was really good. Like it's probably the best Sting promo I've seen, like of what we've watched so far. So I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I think it kind of topped that one where when they were at Disney MGM Studios and he was talking about how no, you stick it, Hulk. Like that was a really good one, but this one that kind of trumped it, and it is a monumental moment and a change in his character. The one thing that I would have changed about this segment, and maybe you know you guys are right about him keeping the face paint and all that on, but I thought when he was leaving, look, the commentators are right there near the entranceway. I think Tenay should have taken off the headset and grabbed a microphone and tried to like get another word with Sting or Eric, like in desperation. Come on, man. You're supposed to be with us. Someone should have gone up to like desperately be like trying to talk him out of it, and Sting just fucking blows him off and just keeps walking. Just a little tidbit. I don't think that he would say that and cut that promo and then just walk off, and no one would attempt to try and change his mind. They just let it happen and he just walks off. To me, that's me nitpicking big time, but just a thought. And then, great, after this, we get Chris Jericho's theme hitting. Jericho and Marcus Bagwell taking on Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. 11 minutes, 6 seconds. Referee Nick Patrick in charge. Before all this happens, we have a backstage thing here. Liz doesn't want to come out with the Horsemen. She's worried. Rick wants her to come. Arn says to leave her. Woman is looking hot as fuck, just wearing a bra under her jacket. I mean, fuck. Kev, what did you think?
Is this the only time we've ever seen Chris Jericho, Buff Bagwell tag together? That was an odd pairing, I thought.
This is the problem I had with this, okay? Jericho's only been there like a month, maybe 5 weeks. A few weeks ago, we found like Scotty Riggs was injured. So, what's his name? Jim Powers tagged with him. As far as I'm concerned, like this should have been like Rick and Arn versus like the Amazing French Canadians or something like that. Not a random tag team of Bagwell and Jericho. Jericho being in this makes no sense. They're being thrown together for the sake. Maybe someone missed their flight in or something like that. But to me, this made no sense. The match went 11 minutes and 6 seconds. I think it went too long. I know that there was some NWO stuff in the middle of this, but Kev, continue. after my little rant there, what did you think of all of this?
We had Sean Waltman doing the pressing of the buzzer to get all the propaganda coming down from the ceiling.
That was pretty.
That
That was pretty cool. Like
My light just fell over. Sorry.
such
I'll
an
fix that.
interruption of the proceedings, just like your light falling. I love an interruption of the proceedings.
The sign says "We beat you now. You have to pay the bills." That was correct. I thought that was pretty cool. With NWO, we do TV our way.
Yeah.
It's that visual of all the paper coming down was pretty cool. The only another note I said probably what a thrill it must be for like Chris Jericho at this point in his career to be like wrestling like Ric Flair in what like his fifth match or whatever. That must have been pretty cool. Yeah, it was a decent match. I'm going to put over Bagwell's punch. I think he's got a great punch. Yeah, it was part of the match as well. Was at the outside there was a limo with Sean Waltman. Now we get to see him with the NWO. Is that during the match? Yeah, it was.
No, I think that's
that's
in the main. Yeah,
okay.
They have in the next matchup, but yeah, this is when he had the flyers flying down.
We have woman.
Did he continue?
No.
Sorry, Kev.
Yeah, I've got in my notes. This is during.
Did he leave the crowd? And I mean, it
Yeah.
was 11 minutes long. He did leave the crowd and get into that game. Fuck him.
It did.
He must have sprinted.
Yeah, we had it was outside Sean Waltman. Now we see him, and now we finally get to know his name's going to be Syxx, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Hogan again with that stinger, just now stung. Just shut the fuck up with that stuff. I'm getting sick of it.
I thought Scott Hall said Sting is now stunk.
No, it was Hogan again.
Oh, was that Hogan?
What I find funny here is the Horsemen are still like, even though they're supposed to be the counter for the NWO, they're still wrestling like they're like the bad guys, you know. Once again, woman causes the
Of course.
the win for the Horsemen. I think he has a Flair's pins Bagwell to figure 4, and the woman's still holding his hands to get extra leverage. I thought that was hilarious as well.
Fucking
Yeah, great stuff.
Played anything you noticed here?
Well, I'm going to throw out a flip. I actually thought that, like, just on an aesthetic, like, visual presentation, Bagwell and Jericho look like $1 million together. Like, talk about two dudes, and I'm just like, that's money. If they were a team, like, I think you could market that very well. I know this is going to be a controversial opinion for some, but I actually like Chris Jericho's theme song. I don't know what it is. Like,
I've got nothing wrong with it either. It's just I like picking on him because he's such a baby face.
It's just that, like, I know people are like, oh, this obnoxious, like, baby face style theme song, but I just fucking love the guitar licks that are happening here. It's ridiculous. I thought it was fucking hilarious that, like, they're checking on Liz and then they're just like, nah, just leave her. Like, our stablemate that's in emotional turmoil, we gotta go. Like, it's such a shitty thing to do.
She's worried about going out there, so let's just leave her alone by herself.
in the darkness, no, better as well. Yeah. In the darkness, like quivering a little shit. No,
it's like, nah, sorry, we can't deal with you right now. Flair's at his best in this match, I think, as well. I was laughing when he becomes incensed with rage and starts throwing a bunch of the pamphlets around in a tantrum. Like, he storms up the entranceway and picks a bunch up and just pegs them. Like, I love that, you know, they had the Syxx, like, through line through all this. And one of the things that made me laugh at all the end of it heading towards is the commentary calls out Hogan for calling Syxx big man. And then I think it's Brain goes, what is he, like 165? And I was like, I love it. I love the clapback. I love them here, and it's part of that cool guy thing of them being heels is I love them just tipping beers and laughing and like patting each other on the back. Something about that brings joy to me as just like bad guys being bad guys. I'll never get sick of it. And woman, like we said, woman is the linchpin here, and she continues to be so for the Horsemen. It's her level of influence, like whilst subtle, you know, she's not like front and center in terms of like she's not Rick, she's not Arn, but she still does so much without it needing to necessarily be called attention to. If you're paying attention, you'll notice it, and I think that's what we've sort of picked up on. So I love that's a thing.
Yeah, because I don't even notice that she did that, the grabbing Flair's like his arms until the replay.
Yeah.
So she did it so subtly that when she did the grabbing the arms, I didn't notice that until after.
And I think this is the second or third time she's done it as well. Like, so it's become a bit more of a consistent thing, like in their matches too. So it's just I really love her in this role. I actually quite enjoyed all of this.
I think she's been involved in the finish of almost every Horseman match we fucking they've won anyway since day dot. I mean, going back to Hog Wild Brother on August the 10th, but I did like that they're celebrating Syxx joining. Giant has the boombox playing the fake Sting rant on there. So
took him a hot second to get it going.
Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, you know what? Like, I like that despite all this shit going on, and I'm going to get into this with the main event here, the Horsemen are still going to be the Horsemen no matter what's going on. Even though they got this other fucking entity to deal with, they're still going to be fucking assholes. And we're going to get to that right now. The main event here, Steve Mongo McMichael.
Oh, we missed.
Oh, sorry.
We missed an ad for the Horseman shirt, didn't we?
Oh, sorry. I skipped past that because I didn't think it was important. But if you got something,
it's very important.
Please take the floor, Kev.
They've got the advert for their shirt. It's $1.95 more than the NWO shirt. What do you think about that?
What is it, $21.95?
Yeah. I was like, all right, a bit steep.
I bet Meltzer has something to say about that. Like, well, the Horsemen felt like their shirt was worth more than the NWO. And
well, speaking of what Meltzer said, he's been for a couple of weeks now. He has been saying that the Horsemen and other people are like, the NWO is getting all this attention and we're getting buried. Maybe you could see this could have been a conversation where like, hey, come on now, like you guys are like giving all this opportunity to the NWO to sell this shirt. Where's our one?
Where's our shirt?
All right, we'll run it out this week.
We'll run it a little bit more expensive. All right.
So we can, I can see that happening.
Good point, Kev. Can we get to our main event now?
Well, we got to go through this like a fine tooth comb, right?
We are going through it with too much of a fine tooth comb sometimes. And I'm sorry, everyone. Eventually, we will start skimming through the months, but some of these nitros are very important, and I want us to watch it the whole way through to get the pacing of the show. Blade, we're talking about the main event here. Steve Mongo McMichael, Chris Benoit taking on Lex Luger. No Sting. 6 minutes flat here. They come out. Debra rips up the NWO propaganda paper. Lex comes out, and Craig Leathers mentions that there is no Sting. Blade, what did you think of the 2-on-1 matchup here and what transpired?
So like finding out the Sting wasn't there. I don't know. I feel like there's also a part that it could have been covered with a small segment of him just leaving the building. And potentially could have even played into some of what you were talking about, right? Where someone's trying to get his attention to sort of get a word from him and he just brushes past them and like exits. Could have been really simple. I don't know. They're probably also pressed for time. So it's just a little bit of that continuity that I'm like, this could have enhanced it a little bit. Nitpicking and fine tooth combing things. I don't like handicap matches in general. I think the issue for me is that there's a thing between not making the individual look too strong and not making the team look too weak. And I don't feel that ever returns like a net positive for anyone. I love that Brain was constantly chastising Eric for telling the NWO who'd be on tour in Japan.
Yeah.
During the match, he brings it up a couple of times, and Brain is like, "What are you doing?" So
yeah.
Good.
Well, why do you? I got the quote here. Why do you keep telling everyone who's not going to be here next week? We find out later why the fuck he keeps on doing it, but
yeah, so great. A DQ finish, I think, is probably the most. It makes the most sense, but is also still very unsatisfying. Um, I also like the Hall commandeers the cameraman at the end, so we flick outside to the NWO, like getting into the limo. He grabs the cameraman and is like, "Come with me." Jay, they all jump in, and we just go off the air with them talking about like they're gonna kick Savage's ass next week. And Lex is just laid out in the ring again. It's a really strong ending for the NWO. Yeah, I don't like handicap matches, and it's that thing of like I guess I understand that it was a more to facilitate the story of Sting not being there and stuff, but it just yeah, I don't know. Not what I want my main event to be, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I think wasn't Scott Hall saying to the cameraman like, "Hey, you want to keep working for chump change, or you want to come join the NWO?" Kev, what did you think of the main event here and what transpired?
Yeah, I just think that they achieved a lot of business here. Mentioning that Savage is going to be there next week and everyone else is not going to be there. Just with what Sting's um, future plans are going to be. There's a lot of business achieved on this show, particularly at the end here. But yeah, it's kind of interesting Nitro where the NWO, except for Sean Waltman, were never in the building the whole
They're
show.
just in the
They were
parking lot.
outside, drinking. It's different every time. Just recently we've been seeing this Cena heel turn discussed as on par with Hogan's heel turn. I'm like, no, like
No follow up.
the initial what happened was great, but the following weeks after has been so disappointing. Whereas Hogan, we're seeing different stuff every week. We've seen them, putting banners up. We've seen them the stuff's coming down from the ceiling. We've got this happening outside. There's just so much
Production
moving.
truck. Yeah, just
So many moves, graffiti on the
yeah.
production track. There's so much moving parts, so much built every single week where we're getting. There's no way you can say that is as an impressive heel turn. This is how you execute it. There's week by week, there's more and more stuff happening, and it's never the same. It's never the same. Every week's something different. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's E for effort. They're thinking every single week. Next week, let's think of something different to do, or let's map it out in advance. What are we going to do from week to week to make the weeks different for one another and make them stand out?
And it's a shame because, I'd venture to say, like, in terms of promo work, like, John would be shitting on, like, Hulk at this point. Like, he's just John, like, especially the last promo that he gave, I thought was fucking phenomenal. But it's not different. He comes out every week and speaks, and, like, I think he's excellent on the mic. Like, he's a really well-spoken person, but, like, it's not enough. It's not exciting. Like, regardless of how good the speech that you're giving is, like, it's the same thing that's happening week after week.
Where's the scenarios? Where's the situations that you're putting him in to make it more interesting? We don't need to see the same thing week after week after.
I'm going to say this, right? Just so the roles which Cody Rhodes has played, where he got the shit beaten out of him, is similar to what Macho Man happened to him. He's got beaten up. Would you think if you bring Macho Man out to the ring with Hogan the next night after the Bash of the Beach or any of the other times he's been beaten up, you think Macho's just going to sit there and listen to him? He's going to get a chair. He's going to beat the fuck out of him. He's going to be so angry, and he would be losing it. So the contrast between the two is just, it's not even the same at all. Like there's just a logistics of wrestling is just gone. It's not even remotely the same.
Before we finish off Nitro here, boys, look, they're all talking shit about Savage in the limo there, and they obviously find out that next week he's the only like big WCW name that's going to be there. So who won't join in and tune in if they know that the NWO are going to be there to destroy WCW next week when none of the big names are going to be there? Sting's gone, Luger's gone, the Horsemen aren't going to be there. But Savage is the only one there. Well, I've got to find out to see how he fucking deals with all this and what they do. But We're coming to the tail end here, boys, and only a few little more segments here to go. We're talking about WCW Saturday Night, which was taped on September 10th, 1996, aired on September 21st, 1996, at the Albany Civic Center in Albany, New York. One short fun fact. Run DMC's music video for their song Mary Mary was filmed at the Albany Civic Center in 1988.
Sick.
Apparently 5,100 people were in attendance for this, but I don't know if it was that or 510, but who knows. Okay, the start of the show here, you guys checked it out. Dusty Rhodes, his analysis to start Saturday night. I'd be tuning in every week just to see what Dusty had to say about this angle. I don't know who to start with. I'm going to start with Kev.
It's kind of like Dusty. He's kind of apologetic to Sting for kind of accusing him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is like this sort of one of the main angles in the show now is just Sting's, his like he feels like he's been betrayed, and then sort of like now we're getting like I get the feeling that the commentators and all the people involved in WCW are kind of like desperate to, sorry Sting, we doubted you, we want you back or whatever, we need you from this threat, but it's just really magical how the announcers and everyone play a part in telling this story. The I've said this before, but the commentary team really are integral in telling the story of this whole angle and everything going on. Whereas that role is just not the same anymore. It's just people talking. Where the actual people telling telling the story in the shows, which is the commentators do a marvelous job back here.
Yeah, like they feel like that they're also to blame, and they feel bad, and they feel like that they fucked up, and they are just as much to be blamed for as Lex or the Horsemen or whatever for Sting, being upset about this whole thing, and they want to fucking make it up to him, but So yes, very good point. Blade, anything to add there?
Yeah, I kind of like how it's positioned, right? Because you've had Larry. I think, to be honest, mostly Larry continue to reinforce this sort of idea that WCW doesn't have a leader and they need someone to sort of stand up. And if you're looking at the landscape, I feel like the one person that's sort of primarily being positioned to do that is Sting, right? Like he's sort of been primed for that, and you're getting to a point where it's like, well, you sort of need him to step up and do that thing. He's almost like the Superman character of kind of the WCW, and then at that point, everyone turns their back on him, like just for that one thing. It's that one thing, and he in turn turns his back as well and walks away. That's a huge thing. Like it leaves this really big power vacuum in this gap for WCW where it's like they don't have anyone. So you've got this really evil force that's just sweeping in and taking over. So it leaves so many like narrative possibilities open. I think that they're just in a really interesting space in the storytelling portion of this at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Another NWO t-shirt advertisement. This is a different one here. We got the Giant involved. One quote that I really liked was Kevin Nash saying, "Very nice, very lovely." And then as soon as he says that, the Giant goes, "So buy the shirt." Play, did you find anything funny here?
I did. I actually love this because, as a bigger man myself, I love that they were talking about that the t-shirt was Giant size. And then Giant saying it makes you look skinnier on TV, like popped me super hard. I just laughed. It was a good little segment.
Yeah, it seems like Giant's fitting in with the NWO here. Anything, Kev?
No, just another good example of them coming across very cool, and you can't help but like, even if they're supposed to be the bad guys, you can't help but like them. They're just very entertaining stuff.
I just find them screaming "buy the shirt" to be too funny, man.
Especially in Nash's voice, eh?
Yeah.
Buy the shirt.
So high pitched. But again, like when Nash again, very nice, very lovely. Like he said, it's so very nice, very lovely, and then Giant just starts screaming "buy the shirt." Okay, Ric Flair and the Horsemen interview here. I'm gonna throw out some quotes here, and I'm gonna see which one of you guys can pick out who said what. Okay, Blade, I'm gonna ask you this one. We were the original gang. We were the first, and we were the worst.
That feels like a Mongo thing.
No, I'm surprised.
Nah.
That's Arn Anderson, bro.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Kev. All right. Who said this? United we stand, divided we fall.
That sounds like Benoit.
So boring. Okay, Blade, you'll get this one, okay?
Yeah.
Mike Tenay gets called Fuzzy Boy.
This was Mongo. And I was like, is this
boy?
I was like, is this become his thing? Because I think in the promo on Nitro, he calls him like legs or something. And I'm like, oh, is this his thing now? He's gonna have a nickname for him every time.
How
I hate
is
that.
Tenay Fuzzy Boy? What the fuck does that mean?
I know, fuzzy boy.
Oh gosh. Anyway, look, I just wanted to throw that to you both. I look, I like that they're being so counterproductive right now to stop the NWO, but it's true to life of how this would go if it were real, because the Horsemen are still the Horsemen. Kev, anything to add here?
No, just we got Flair accusing Luger of just letting the Horsemen down there. It's like, you know, he paid the price for, like, you know, Sting and him was in the team. So basically now Sting's left they've flown the coop. Now it's like he's paying the price for. So,
Well, Lex.
Yeah, because they beat the shit out of him at the end of Nitro. Like they were like, I'm thinking like I was watching. I was thinking these guys are supposed to be like the counter for the NWO, but they're like. They're not. They're definitely not baby faces at all. Like the way they, they're supposed to be baby faces, but they're still, as you said, still acting like how they would. You know.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Blade, anything to add?
I think the only thing that we didn't cover is Benoit at some point is like, I'm silent but violent. And I'm like, dude, sounds like a fart. Like flat out. I'm just like, that is the shittest line.
You know, bro, just stay silent. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I find Benoit always uses very generic kind of
Oh, he is. Oh,
terms when he's talking.
Somebody give him some more material. Speaking more material, NWO paid announcement again. The NWO's greatest hits. Blade, thoughts?
I like that they kind of had a greatest hits already, despite the fact they haven't been around that long. I like seeing this like little clip package because it shows like, yeah, they haven't been around that long, but man, they have had a ton of stuff go down in a very short time. It's just been so chaotic. So great way to encapsulate that.
Big Kev.
Yeah, same. It's just they're maximizing the time they have on the show because there's so much that's happened, and we had episode 14, and there's so much we've went through. Like it's great. Like this is what wrestling should be. We should be have lots to talk about at the end of the show. I'd skimmed through not Nitro, but Raw the other week. Honestly, it's like 2 weeks out from WrestleMania. Nothing happens. Not one thing. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing here? Like, get me excited. I'm looking at the card and I'm like, there's nothing to be excited about.
You know,
give me something. Give me anything.
This is episode 14. It's only been 3.5 months. Like, that's crazy, man. Okay. We're getting
the hot shotting. There's too much hot shotting.
Yeah. Oh man, there's more holes than Swiss cheese.
Fucking hot shot me to hell. I love it. Fucking give me more.
I'll give Meltzer a hot shot.
I'll give fucking Meltzer a fucking hot shot.
I left the Halloween Havoc Control Center thing in there just for you guys to see how much has already been built for this pay-per-view. By the way, nerdy comment. The theme for the Control Center here was Mark Mero's WWF theme when he was Marvelous Mark Mero. Don't know why, but I figured it out immediately. But the card is beginning to take shape very nicely. And we've got an announcement about the Slim Jim Snap to Win sweepstakes. And I want to let you guys know about what was actually on the line here. In 1996, Slim Jim partnered with WCW to promote a special Halloween Havoc Snap to Win sweepstakes featuring the Macho Man. The sweepstakes offered fans a chance to win some incredible prizes. The grand prize, a one-of-a-kind, custom-built Slim Jim monster truck that was fully street legal.
Wow.
First prize, an all-expenses-paid trip for 4 to Las Vegas to attend Halloween Havoc on October 27th, 1996. The prize included flights, hotel accommodations, and premiere tickets for
That'd
the
be
show.
sick. That would be so sick.
That'll be dime. I don't need the monster truck. We'll be able to fit it in my garage. Second prize, a new big screen TV and a catered Halloween Havoc viewing party in your home, all paid for by Slim Jim. You can invite friends over and enjoy the pay-per-view in style.
What if you got no friends?
Oh, well, guess you'd just be sitting there with all your Slim Jims like a fucking loser. Speaking of a loser, part 2 with the Booty Man interview.
Fucking hell.
Poor Ed.
Poor Ed. He's turned on by WCW and the NWO. This is tragic stuff. Kev, what did you think of the Booty Man part 2?
Yeah, this is like this is new footage, or was it a bit of new footage and old footage put together?
This is new. This is a second part of his interview. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I got from this is like I feel like they could have done way more with him. Like you've got these pretty good realistic life promos from him, and you could. I almost got the idea where you could have really made him like a thorn in the NWO side, where he was a bit crazed, where he kind of snap, and all he dedicated his life to just getting revenge on Hulk Hogan. You could have done some sort of character like that with him, where that's just my first. While watching this, you can see that him, his whole world's. He's got nothing to lose anymore, and now his sole purpose is to screw Hulk Hogan, and that's could be his character. I could have done something here, but we don't really get that.
You see the look in his eyes, and when he says, "I don't know which way to go, I don't know who I am anymore," and he says after all this thing that he thought they were friends, and he found out that in the end it was just business, and the look in his eyes the whole time he's doing this promo, I wrote down he could have returned as a dark character, scorned. Maybe at the side of Sting, maybe they're both in different spots and they end up but maybe they don't. Maybe they're just both like on their own. They're both vigilantes fucking with the NWO. No face paint necessary, but like I could see him like being a bit more brooding with the hair down, maybe dark clothing. He's had everything taken away from him. Doesn't know who he is anymore. But all he knows is he wants to fucking fuck over Hulk Hogan. WCW ditched him. The NWO ditched him. He could be a free agent too. Blade, did you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I don't know what it was about the part. Maybe it was just the look in his eyes. But when he's talking about that, he's like, I'm not the Booty Man or the Zodiac or the Butcher. I was just like, man, something about this is really like it's fucking bumming me out. Like, I actually genuinely like feel for this dude. So yeah, it's a real shame that like obviously he has quite a capacity to like evoke emotion out of people, because like these series of interviews have been really like I think there's been a lot of emotional impact. Like every time I've been like shit, like I do genuinely feel for this dude quite a lot. So yeah, it feels like you guys said, there were angles and maybe a missed opportunity for him.
I think so. Like, I actually think for the first time ever, this guy had depth to his character that made him actually interesting. And there were layers to him that we could, get to know. But I guess for whatever reason, even though that his best friend Hulk is apparently booking the show, we can. Let's move forward here. The last thing before we get to find out what Dave Meltzer had to say, Randy Savage interview. Blade, anything to add here?
No, I mean, and some of it also seemed to retread things that he'd said previously in the promo. He reuses the line about them being on planet Earth at the same time, referencing his last marble. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty standard Macho Man fare, but nothing noteworthy to take away.
Kev, do you have any quotes here?
Just I'm a man of the 90s. Yeah, what's that all about? He asked. I liked. Was it Tenay? Was it interviewing him?
Yeah.
Who was it? Yeah. He asked about Elizabeth here, and he says Elizabeth does what she does, and he does what he does. So,
I have one little quote. I thought I was rock bottom before, and now I'm further down, and I can go no much further. No, I can't. Like, why didn't just say now I'm further down and I can't go any further? No, and I can go no much further. No, I can't. Anyway, that's the end of WCW Saturday Night and anything to do with the NWO. But boys, it's time to find out what Dave Meltzer had to say.
That's right, it's time to find out what did Dave Meltzer say.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'd have to give that 5 stars. Rumor has it that Mabel is going to be the third guy.
Fuck, I hope this doesn't go for too much. Jesus Christ, there's so much here to talk about. Dave believes this past week might have been the most important Monday Night battle so far. WWF had lost the last 2 weeks in the ratings by record margins, and this week was the beginning of the new fall season of TV. It was the climax of the Razor Diesel angle. It was a live Raw, not taped. This leads to Dave talking about how the rise of the internet is going to start hurting taped shows, but it's not a big deal now because Dave estimates that probably less than 2% of WWF's audience are internet/newsletter fans.
Okay.
It was also the night after a WWF pay-per-view, which saw the beginnings of a WWF ECW relationship. And finally, they had the finals of the Intercontinental title tournament. All in all, it was a stacked show as WWF could produce. Result, WCW absolutely crushed them yet again. Dave thinks WWF's TV has reeked of desperation lately. And I will just do another paragraph before I throw it to you guys. Jim Ross ended up being the scapegoat for the terrible Razor Diesel fake angle. They made their debut on Raw. And Jim Ross cut a worked shoot promo about having left a good job in Atlanta to be in WWF and that he's the best announcer in the business, but was taken off TV and fired by Vince McMahon after his Bell's palsy attacks and made references to the steroid trial and essentially ripped Vince a new one. He then basically claimed he was the one who sabotaged the company by purposely allowing Scott Hall and Kevin Nash to leave. It's believed this whole thing may lead to an angle with Jim Ross leading an outsider group of guys who used to be in WCW, such as Brian Pillman, Vader, Steve Austin, etc. But the angle is so dead right now that there's serious talk of just dropping it entirely. Oh, God. Oh, how much horse shit's here, Blade?
Can you imagine JR leading like some sort of vigilante uprising group?
It's all over the place.
They're all in cowboy hats. Like, it just, man. Why do you put us in this position? I hate this segment. I hate this segment so much.
There's no way they're going to redo the NWO angle their way with Jim Ross leading a group of disgruntled WCW guys. It's insane.
Talk about hot-shotting angles. Fuck.
Like, it makes no sense. Like, Pillman, Vader, and Austin have never been in WWF. Why do they want to be in an outsider group destroying the WWF when they want to go the other way? Kev, do you have anything to add there?
Oh man, I think the only thing I would say, like when you, the previous point you said in this story was their relationship with ECW. Can you get a more starker contrast of companies at that point, like WWF at that point, that kind of still that cartoony hangover characters,
Yeah.
and then you got ECW's doing sort of more hardcore, groundbreaking stuff. Now they've got a working relationship. That's a really odd pairing it, especially at that point in time, which is interesting. How like even I'm now thinking about that now, like that new generation just hangover era with now they got a relationship with ECW is it's kind of strange when you think about it now.
It is.
But
It's like, again, like oil and water, like Konan and Jimmy Hart.
yeah, but to your point, it just sounds like he's making up a story to
Oh God! Like there's
like
no
a,
way
a counteract,
that
a
was a thought.
counteract to the NWO story. Like, okay, we're going to do the exactly the same thing, and then we'll just like, well, what? Jeez.
They couldn't have thought the fake diesel and fake razor thing was going to work. God, it was just a shot. Anyway,
Whose idea was that? Do you know?
I don't know.
Jim Cornette?
I don't know. I should have done some research, but
I'd like to know who that was. Bruce Pritchard?
God, it sounds like something he might think.
Yeah, I'm thinking too.
Okay, Jeff Jarrett again.
There we go.
So many weeks in a row, his name's been brought up.
He's becoming the new Sean Waltman now.
He's expected to join the NWO when he's legally able to join WCW. Right. There was interest in bringing in Bam Bam Bigelow, but he had a lot of problems with the clique in WWF, and that was one of the reasons he left. With Hall and Nash and Waltman all being in WCW now, Bigelow may not be heading in after all. Thank you for not telling us anything there. The Nasty Boys have been working house show matches against Hall and Nash and were upset because they worked to get themselves over as babyface and wouldn't sell, which left the Nasty Boys to get booed and look stupid since they're supposed to be the faces. The Nasties have been complaining to Hogan about it. Now, how the fuck would Dave Meltzer know that the Nasties are complaining to Hogan about anything? Kev, what do you think about that? And also the Jarrett and Bigelow stuff.
Well, we know he's got that one wrong. Where does Bigelow go? Does he go to ECW for a while?
Yeah, he's there for like 2 years. Like Bigelow doesn't come into like mid, like to near late '98. Like,
yeah. So what's the initial question? Sorry, I missed it.
No, it's just like the Jarrett thing, the Bigelow thing. There was interest in him, but because the clique are there, he's not going to go after all. Maybe.
So sorry, yeah, the Nasty Boys complaining to Hogan. It's
yeah, they complained to Hogan.
Why would they do that?
They complained to Hogan that on house shows they weren't being cheered as baby faces because of Hall and Nash.
So Hogan's got this new thing here going, and you're really going to go to him to complain about it? I just don't see that at all happening.
It's a house show. Who cares? Blade, do you have anything to add there?
No, I think those are great points. Like it's just
bullshit.
It's the grasping at straws of it all, where it's just like, I don't know, throw 1,000 things at the wall and see what sticks.
Okay, I got 3 more little paragraphs here. WCW contract updates. Ric Flair's contract runs through November 1998, but he's talked about wanting to take time off to spend more time at home with his family. Dave doubts he will. Randy Savage's contract reportedly runs out sometime in November of this year, and there's legit concern that he'll return to WWF because he's unhappy. And Dave adds, don't even think for a second that WWF won't take him back. Blade.
What? Why would he? I mean, he's been featured in a pretty prominent position. I don't understand why he would be unhappy at this point. Oh man, everything he's saying, like this particular time, I'm just like, I'm trying to sort of filter my emotions because it's like I have a really big just like fuck this feeling. Like, this dude, man, I don't I don't understand. Like, his existence is frustrating. Like, in the element of just like how he's made a living off doing this blows my mind. But hey, keep on keeping on.
It's funny. Kev, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, it's a bit weird this week, Meltzer. I'm not like I don't know. Like his shit is just sort of. I don't know. He's off his meds or something. Something's wrong with him. His stories are really like they're non-stories, really. You know what I mean? Like, don't think for a second they won't take Macho Man back. Why would Macho Man even leave? Like he's as Blade said, he's very prominent on the show. He's got a good spot, probably a lot better than what he had before he left. You know,
Well, they made him a commentator over there. What's he gonna do if he goes back?
I mean, probably WWF would have taken him back because at this point they're starting to get their ass kicked, and you know they need some ratings. So probably a jump at this point would. So yeah, of course they would take him back at this point. But I don't know. It's just such a non-story. There's no stories this week. He's just kind of like, as you know, we said in the past, he's sort of must be a slow week, so he's just sort of coming up with trash.
Okay, last bit here, boys. JJ Dillon starts with WCW this week, but Dave doesn't know what his position will be. He doesn't think it'll be on camera. It eventually he is, but
yep.
Anyway, at the end of the Fall Brawl pay-per-view, okay, this is really funny.
All right.
Okay. At the end of the Fall Brawl pay-per-view, Hogan actually wanted to give Elizabeth a pile driver. But Bischoff overruled it because he was afraid Ted Turner or other Turner Network executives would be upset about it. Kev.
Well, Elizabeth was wearing a dress with high heels when this all went down. So if he logistically gave her a pile driver, we would see her ass, everything. You know,
well, she might have a spare pair of pants. She might have some pants, Kev.
She's Miss Elizabeth. She always wears a dress and high heels. That's her gimmick. A pile driver?
I've never seen Hulk Hogan give anyone a pile driver.
We haven't seen any man on woman like stuff at this point in wrestling, like in '96. I mean, we see it in ECW, but at this point, Hogan doing this seems like a stretch.
The most of it I think would have ever happened like Sherry Martel might have been knocked off the apron by someone. By her own tag team that she's, but I can't even remember.
So if they were going to do some sort of man on woman violence, they're not going to go for a punch just to start off with. We're not going to do a punch or a clothesline or a pass line. We're going straight to the pile driver. You know what I mean? Like we're going from 0 to 10 like straight away. Okay, bullshit.
I don't see this happening. Blade, what do you think of Hogan wanting to hit a pile driver on Miss Elizabeth?
I'd love to strap up like a VR machine to Meltzer's brain in terms of like how he pictures this happening, right? The NWO is standing tall in the ring. Miss Elizabeth is covering Macho Man after they've beaten him down. Hulk looks at like Hall and Nash. He's like, boys, I'm calling an audible, Miss Elizabeth. And like, in what fucking like bizarro universe does he go, this is a great idea. We're going to reef Miss Elizabeth up and I'm going to drop her with a pile driver. That's absolutely fucking insane. It has no like bearing and no continuity with how Hulk Hogan has presented himself on screen, even as a heel. Like, that's what I would expect from AEW. That's actually something, if you'd been like, Hulk was in AEW and he called an audible to do a pile driver, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. In no world in 1996 with Hulk Hogan is this fucking happening. You are kidding me.
There's no way.
Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd love to pile drive Elizabeth, but in a more gross and disturbing way. But there we have it, boys. That's the end of episode 14. 1 + 2 + 3 = 6. And before we go, I just want to show this off. So I've got an NWO shirt, right here. But, you know, in light of the situation, just trying to get that in the right frame. Oh, yeah. The Syxx ball shirt. I got that shit. And my Nature Boy shirt here. But, there, again, I just wanted to show some stuff off. Kev, any final thoughts? And let everyone know out there where they can find you, my friend.
Final thoughts. Just it's good episodic wrestling TV, which we're watching every week. There's something news happening all the time, and I've really given up just even skimming the modern wrestling at the moment. It's just I can't even watch the show. This is nothing happening. There's no stories. The crowd is annoying the shit out of me. I hate watching the show. So I'm fucking done, and I'm really enjoying watching this again. So yeah, that's my final thoughts. And you can catch me on Facebook, Kevin Curran Music, and my band Hail Mary, which we're up and running. We got the new lineup. We got some shows happening. Check us out, Hail Mary Band page on Facebook and Hail Mary Band on everything else. And Hail Mary Kev on X as well. You can I wouldn't mind using that more. And big shout out to the new subscribers and people starting to comment and stuff as well. I really appreciate that.
I am down with that, bro. And Blade, any final thoughts here before we sail off into the sunset?
No, it's just really good to be back with you boys and getting back to this. You know, life has definitely been hectic lately, and I appreciated the time to have the break, but it's nice to have that reminder of like this is actually a really good thing in my life, and I hope that's the same for you guys as well. Is that I actually really enjoy these pockets of time that we spend together getting to do these recordings, and I'm looking forward to getting back to like doing more and getting more recorded so we can, you know, start putting more stuff out because yeah, it seems like we were picking and have been picking up a little bit of momentum, which is exciting. Like I would like to keep that ball rolling.
Me too, Blade, and thank you for the comments. And I've once again enjoyed my time with you, Big Kev and Blade. And I'm so glad we are back. And thank all of you out there for joining us here on the nWBro's podcast. California, Big fucking Kev, Big fucking Blade. And we'll see you down the big fucking road. Thank you.